You, y'all already know what time it is, man. We here early Friday and hot and fresh 1017, man. Chicken chain greens and 1017. Oh man, I'm gonna keep it calm. We got a lot to go through. Crazy amount of information in a little bit of time. Really only a few panels, but you know how it is with these situations and how we are in the community, right? It only takes one word, one panel, a drop of sweat. It doesn't really matter. We'll find something and it's off to the races, right? So let's get into it. 1017. Orders. You know what they are. Go execute. Bill Belichick, do your job, right? So we start off on the flow. See Queen, bunch of scrubs, a bunch of mayhem. And then you guys, we all knew it was coming, right? Kibi Baba Dango time. Kibi Baba Dango. And yes, I say it like that. That's how comical it is to me at times. I'm sure it's annoying to some. I can understand it, but just be glad it only works on smile users, right? But Tom is finally able to give her statement to the scrubs, these scrub smile users who I would never, ever, ever, ever contemplate even taking a smile. Like I don't even know if I'd have a fruit to begin with, but I certainly wouldn't have that. That's out of the question. We go hockey, we go Roku Shiki, we go something, right? But we don't smile for like we just don't. So those guys are going wild. We see the gorilla lady and the praying mantis lady and that kind of thing. The numbers are flipping right as far as the fodder is concerned. And while this is going on, of course, we have our conversation with Jim Boski, man, my man Jim Boski, the wily veteran, man, that minimum salary vet who gets y'all through the playoffs, man. That's what Jim Boski is. So he's still dealing with who's who. And, I made a joke about him the past couple of chapters, like, oh, Jimmy might have washed him up because he's not in his saber-toothed tiger form. Shout out to OG Power Rangers, right? But we see that's not the case. And they got a little talk about this whole numbers game, right? And Jim Boski is like, look, man, we knew what it was like prior, right? Shout out to landscaping on Fridays, right? We knew what it was coming in, right? And that we was outnumbered. We don't care. I never expected the 1v1. It really doesn't matter. Fishman karate, it's just what it is. But he got the little Catwomanish girl with the pistol and that little. I mean, like, okay, we gonna start getting more into these solo fights with what's going on with the rest of the Straw Hats. So I'm guessing we're gonna get more than what I thought, right? Other than like a little back shot of a panel or something. And of course, who's important for other reasons that we gonna get to near the end because I got a lot to talk about with him. I'm sure you do too, right? But they skip away from that, of course, to show what's going on, and we see Luffy's gonna end up being revived because we know that Law's crew found him sinking in the ocean, projecting the voice of all things, similar to the way the Sea Kings, sometimes people can hear them, and then the Sea Kings are like, "Wow, I can't believe that they can hear us," but they can't communicate back or anything like that, right? So he had his own Sea King moment, and now he's similar to Big Mom. You can drown them, but drowning some of these Delta Fruit users, sometimes just drowning them's not good enough. They gotta stay drowned in it. Because Luffy's gonna be back on his way. You already know what that means. And that's what Tama was trying to say. Hey, look, help Luffy, help the samurai, this ain't over. We're taking out Kaido. And to hear a child say we're taking out Kaido, Queen is just like, look, I've heard enough, right? This is y'all wilding now. And he get ready to probably fire blaster or something, and in comes dun, 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 your boy Sanji. It's Sanji time, man. And y'all know I give Sanji to work on a regular, like I'm a temp agency. I didn't give him the flames of the Mago Mago and the Mara Mara. But that's only when he's on Sim Smoke time. When he's on regular Sanji time, I'm getting ready to throw hands or I'm taking care of a mission and I'm just making sure things are going smooth. That's the Sanji I rock with. I don't rock with Sanji the Sim Smoke. I don't know that dude, you know what I mean? But he run up on Queen. He's like, it's time. Queen's like, hey, Vince Smoke Brat. You already know. We don't like that name. Don't call me that. You know, I deserve respect, man. I'm not one of those guys. And MADS gets brought up, which is a science group that we kind of knew existed. We just didn't have a name for it, but it had already been referred that Vince Smoke and Judge and Dr. Vegapunk had worked together back in Whole Cake Island. And then we see in the Wano arc, Queen gets added to that scientific lore. So we know Mads is probably something to do with some man. You know, Odin is, some of his puns are very straightforward. I don't know what it stands for, but we knew they worked on stuff like giantification, lineage factor, like judging the clones. You know, we had devil fruits, probably hockey too, whatever maybe the basis of the SSG, ancient weapons. It could be any of those and probably all of them, right? But just like I was saying before about the clone thing a few chapters ago, and does Big Bomb still have access to those things? Because when the Germa left, it's not like they had time to pack those things up. And remember when Sanji got jumped by Ichiji, Niji, and Yonji before Reiji put the mask on to go see Puddin, he had showed Sanji had seen the clones, and they were explaining, you know, it takes 5 years to grow into a grown man, and so on and so forth. So you know, the science parts, like I've been saying all the time, especially these last 10, 15 chapters, is the science part with Dr. Vegapunk. We know what's coming, right? Because the interrelationship between Hockey, Devil Fruits, and Sea Stone, that trio of interrelationship is so scientifically important to the series from power scaling standpoint to taking care of business, right? Because certain fruits you need to do something. And then in this chapter, we learn the Gomu Gomu might be one of them for one reason or another. It might be either because maybe the fruits work similar, like a move list, right? Where if a move's never been used before, the fruit doesn't know the move. Because remember, with certain fruits, like there's basic abilities that as soon as you obtain the fruit, you're aware of instantly, right? And then the rest, I guess, is more on your imagination and the honing of your skills and understanding your fruit, right? That kind of thing. Also, because fruit and personality kind of coincide with each other. Like we've seen that it's been explained, like a character like Dofi, right, where he's manipulative. He has the Ito Ito no Mi, that kind of thing. Aokiji, you know, Akainu, Luffy, right? Because Luffy is versatile as far as his flexibility, his ability to adapt, right, to in most situations, right? You know, he's creative. You can do a lot of things with rubber to begin with, right? From I talked about that in my Luffy video. Whole 30 minutes about that kind of stuff. That stuff that's coming up now. So those of you who watched that stuff before, you already kind of know what my takes are on with Luffy and the rubber ability. However, this I have no idea what the hidden ability is that can make this that important. Or did they like? I'm gonna get into that. Let's get back to Southside Shimosuki Village, the Senpai, the Santoriu. You already know what time it is. I'll be back on the court, man. I gotta take this fake Senzu bean that's based on Zo juice or whatever. I don't know. You know, some what do they call it in sports? I hear about all the time. Toradol. Toradol stuff they always talk about in football. Zordo's gonna take some Toradol and be back on the field, right? You know, he's gonna pay for it later, but come on, man, that ain't no real payment. This dude has been in pain the entire series. It's just a matter of is this going to happen in an inconvenient time that's going to keep him from like really clapping Kaido or something crazy like that, right? Or he's going to have to surpass something, or it might cost him something. Because remember, if this pain hit him at the wrong time while he got Emma, something weird could happen. So there is that. I don't think they're bringing that up just for whatever. And we see Chopper's going through his when Luffy first used to have drawbacks. And, you know, it is what it is with that situation. It kind of makes sense, right? Like, there has to be side effects to science most of the time. So, just because he's gotten better at the Rumble Ball doesn't mean he's perfected it, right? Luffy still runs out of hockey. He still falls out of Gear 4. So, if you look at it from that kind of thing, it kind of, it makes sense to me. So, we're about to get to the meat and potatoes, right? So we've seen Shinobu dipped out. She's in the sky, I assume. I just don't know where she's going or why or what the next plan is as far as where they're heading to. And we still haven't seen Hiyori either. So there's that. First and foremost, who's who? We don't know who he rocking with. He could really be with Kaido. He could still be with Cypher Pole because he could be tied to Lucci in some way, right? Because as soon as we seen Shave, you knew what time it was. We were like, oh, Rokushiki, let's go, right? The last time we seen Rob Lucci in the Gucci, he was hanging out with Stussy, right? Age 0, we know what it is. And the last time we seen any type of Rokushiki move was Hoka Callan with Stussy in the Shigan when she clapped the old boy. Remember before the cake fell over? I forgot Dufeld, the dude with the glasses. I think his name was Dufeld. That dude. So now we got who's who, and he's connected to the Gomu Gomu in some way, shape, or form. He couldn't have been the only one. There's no way you'd have, even if the fruit ain't that good, you wouldn't have a fruit that's in the government care guarded by one person. And then the fact that with the math that they give you in the chapter, you already know. You already know he got out through Impel Down. Because remember, there was unnamed people in Impel Down. We never found out who they was. Apparently, who's one of them. And he's an ex-Cypher Pole dude. Rob Lucci's rival? Now, I wonder if they're cool or not. Is this like a Wolverine and Sabretooth thing? Because they have similar, right, Zoan fruits? Like, they have similar fruits. So that means this dude probably has a Roku Ogon, too, of some sort, which I talked about in my Luffy video. Because I think Luffy has a Roku Ogon. I think that's where we're going with the hockey thing. But what's his motives? Does he work with Blackbeard? Is that how he got free? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he still with the government somehow? And he quote unquote escaped? Right? Does he know anything about Sword? Because he definitely knows who X-Drake is. Right? So is it that kind of like, what's his, we don't know. And it can go any kind of way, right? I don't know. And does the Derby hat guy that's there with the game board, if he sees him, does he know? Because remember, the Derby hat guy's there too. And I'm kind of iffy on him because does he know Robin's there? That's a pivotal piece that the government needs their hands on is Robin's knowledge and ability. So, the thing with Robin is already iffy because of Black Maria, and then luckily Kid and Killer and a few others are probably fighting Big Mom, and that keeps Big Mom from going after Robin. Because if Big Mom go on her own, Robin's clapped. That's a wrap. You know what I mean? And Kaido's up there with Yamato, and then when Luffy gets there, so there's the people that you'd really be worried about won't be able to get near Robin for now. She's gonna have to hold her own. But what's who's mission? Does he work for himself? You know what I'm saying? Does he really rock with Kaido like that? He could be in any 4 directions. And you could be like, yep, he's with Blackbeard. That makes sense. That's why Blackbeard knows some stuff. You could be like, yep, he's still with the world government. They just let him go. Yep, he might be connected to Rob Lucci still. And does Lucci have a different plan? Because remember in the cover story, Cypher Pole, they ran away. That's why it made so weird that Lucci ended up back in Cypher Pole. Because in the cover story, remember, we got their continuation, which I'm finna look to see if who's who might be some character from that cover story. You know what I'm saying? Or I seen somebody brought up chapter 421, like who's who might be mentioned by Rob Lucci, but I'm still going through the cover story. Because I don't remember that, but I'm going to look at that too today. It's a lot of rereading going on today in this camp. Well, this weekend is going to be great because I got the time to do it. You know what I mean? So, that whole situation, it makes it even more mysterious with Shanks, right? Because Shanks was involved in somehow the interactions of Kaido not going to Marineford, and he knew Kaido was going to Marineford. We never talk about that part, how he knew, or was it by an accident? I just don't feel like anything Shanks does is by accident. If you found Whitebeard in the middle of nowhere, the same way Ace wouldn't find Shanks in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, not in the middle of nowhere, but you get what I mean. Just randomly somewhere. And they just, the same thing that Mihawk does. He always, oh, well, I know where to find Shanks if I need to go talk, holler at him. They know. I don't know how. Maybe it's something similar to what's going on with Momo and Luffy. I just don't know what the range is on that. I doubt it. Hopefully that's not the case because we don't need, psychic ability friends network. But, it's just that strange to me. Did questions like, did Shanks know that the Gomu Gomu was, did he know that the fruit, did he know that he was stealing that fruit? Or did you find out afterwards that's what fruit it was? And does he actually know if it's important or not? And if he does, him saving Luffy looks kind of different now because if Luffy dies out there in the sea with nobody around, there's no trees for that fruit to go to. So it'll be a while before he gets back in circulation. You have no idea where it's going to circulate at. So if it really is important, that means it's a time released ability, or you have to wait for a user to get awakened in some way or something. But it has to be a body alter. I don't think it's something as simple as he can make uh, things he touched rubber, similar to uh, Katakuri or Dofi, which he could probably do that, but that's probably not what makes it special because how many advantages, if you're the world government, does that really give you? So it seems to me it's more like it does something to your body that we're not aware of, but it can't be that broken because somebody's died with it before. You get what I mean? So like it doesn't give you immortality. Clearly, it's not as broken as whatever Law's famed ability is or whatever Julie Bonnie's got going on. But clearly, we now know there's more to it. But the information on it, nobody probably knows, which means it must be as old as like Void Century time because nobody talked about or knew about Toki's fruit either. And that popped up out of nowhere. So, why it's important? Sure, you could throw the Joy Boy stuff out there. That makes sense to me. I was hearing that last night for a little bit. But even then, it doesn't make it all that important. I just don't understand it. Because clearly Joy Boy still died. And we know the type of stuff that the Celestial Dragons want is eternal life or power or something of that nature. And I just don't know how the Gomu Gomu gives you that. Unless it has something to do with, I don't know. Maybe you have to turn something into rubber, to get it from somewhere. That's the only thing I can think of. Like something like that. Or it does something to your body in combination with something else. It has to, I just don't, I don't know. I don't think it's just symbolism, right? What your fruit you have in this series matters. And like I said before, rubbers, you can do a lot of things with it. I just don't see how I don't know. But then it makes you think, does Instant Messenger Sama want Luffy's fruit more so than Luffy himself? It's not just because he's a D. Like maybe this part of it is by accident. But if that fruit went to somebody else, would Instant Messenger Sama still want it? You know what I mean? Is it that kind of thing? Garp never says anything. Nobody ever says anything. Nobody knows this fruit. Like everybody knows what his ability is. It's kind of hard not to notice, especially now because he's known. I just don't. He's got me stumped on this one, y'all. So whatever it is you got, let me know because I'm gonna have to do some rereading. Like I said, even by symbolism, if it belonged to Joy or anybody else, I just don't see how it makes like I said before, maybe there's a move list and whatever that move is or whatever that ability is, it's only been used once or someone's got close and they thought they could do something with it. It just never happened. And there hasn't been anybody good enough. Because maybe we forget. We don't know how long fruits have been around. We just assume at least the Void Century time period and before, right? But it doesn't mean people have been using them a lot. So maybe there's only been one or two users of all these previous fruits we've seen so far. So all the stuff hasn't been worked out about them, and then it's are they man-made or not? Enter Vegapunk and Yelbath tree and the well tree, that kind of thing going on as far as the relationship between knowledge and trees in the series and how it's used in mythologies in our world. So I'm I'm excited. I'm excited on that one because I'm stumped. The Who's Who stuff, you can kind of maybe fill some gaps somewhere going throughout the story and see if you can get somewhere with it. But I just don't know what his motive is. I mean, clearly he wanted his freedom. I just don't know what his motive is. Does he want to get back at the government? Did that even really happen? Because he could be lying. Like he could have really did the time, but there might be more to the story that he's not telling Jinbei. And does he want to hurt Luffy because of this? Does he want, like because of the bitter past, like I said, maybe he goes into a rage mode, and I don't know. But I find it hard to believe because remember earlier, some chapters ago, who saw Luffy and didn't say or do anything. He went about his business because he was more concerned about Yamato. So I'm really, who really confuses me. He's got me beat because I don't know what his goal is. And I don't know who he probably work with, so we'll see about that. And then Shanks, it just makes things like, his interaction with Kaido and Marineford looks, or prior to Marineford, we still don't know how that happened. It makes his interaction with Kainu, which for other reasons, which I brought up when it comes to Sword, it makes that interaction looks, we don't know. Um, we don't know who that fruit was supposed to go to, right? And what they were going to use it for. Like I said, did Shanks know and he was specifically targeting the Gomu Gomu? Or were they just targeting that ship in general? And they just happened to, that's what fruit just happened to be there. Because who's going to turn down the fruit regardless of what it is, right? Even if you're not going to use it, you can sell it or, do whatever with it. It has value, right? So we're going to see. This is crazy, man. It really is crazy. Like that threw me all the way off. I'm just sitting here. Like first I was just hyped because of the Shigan and seeing Rokushiki, and then he got to talking about the incident. I'm like, wait a minute, what in the core zone is going on here? Like what? You know what I mean? Like you were connected to his fruit. Why were you guarding it? I know you were Cypher Pole, you said that part, but why were you specifically guarding it? And where are the other ones? Why did you take the rap? Did you give it up? Who knows? So, y'all let me know, because I have no idea. I just know we going to see Sanji fight Queen. We going to see some Osoba Mask, Stealth Black, whatever you want to call him. I don't care as long as he show up. Zoro's probably going after King when he gets out of the bandages and broken bones, and we'll see how his interactions with Emma affect him. We still got Kid and Killer and Hawkins and Big Mom, right? Tama is probably going to be taken by Usopp and Nami to maybe another section where they can convert some more people. I'm not really sure. Some more Smile users, depending on, how many Kibi Baba Dango Tamo's actually handed out, right? We still got the Fire Festival cracking. We still got Robin and Black Maria. We don't know where Hiyori is. I think that's pretty much it. We know what's going on with Yamato and one. Whoa, what Kaido, man. I can't wait to get back up there too and get that flashback. They just dropping some heat, man, with this information stuff. Cause the Vegapunk thing we know is coming. It has to. Like it's signed, sealed, and delivered. Just with the Gomu Gomu thing. Cause like, was the Gomu Gomu going to him? You know, like there's been speculation on what fruits are naturally occurring, and are some of them already man-made. We've been talking about that for a long time, and we know about Momos. So the connections are there. We just don't know what they are. And it's like, it feels like I know some of this stuff is going to be stuff we're going to feel like, dang, we should have figured that out. Watch. It happens every time. But, yeah, man, I want to see what whose motives are. Like, it was cool to see Frankie, you know what I mean? And, Inuyarashi and Jack was like, Jack was basically trying to say, look, man, it's not my fault. You took an arrow to the back, man. That's not on me. Jack, I guess, cares about his pride. I don't know. Probably because they was both talking that trash. They've been talking trash to each other since so we're gonna see what it is with Inuyasha and now that some of these smile fruit users have flipped the script as far as the fodder numbers are concerned. And Fukuro Kujo and Raizo, we need to get back to that too. But, I got some reading to do. I know y'all do too. Y'all got to be excited, man, because this is. I just keep, I keep running out of words, but then I keep thinking about more stuff. It just keeps raising more and more questions about why the Gomu Gomu. Like we know about the number representation of it, but why and what can it do? Because I've came up with so many different abilities. I just can't think of what would benefit Instant Messenger Sama or the Gorosei or the Tenryuin Vito. Unless it's for cosmetic reasons, if you feel what I'm saying. Maybe, Charlos is like, hey, I want to do some body modifications, they like to go to those I don't know what to call them, the the human trafficking houses, right? Like the issue with Sirahosi. Maybe Charlos wants some, increased equipment area or something. I don't know. Because in an SBS, it did get brought up that every part is modifiable when it comes to the goals. So it could be something stupid like that, right? Or I hope not. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Because now I'm just rambling. I really want to read some chapters right now. So that's probably what that's about to happen here. Y'all stay safe out there. Enjoy your read, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your theories. Let me know what you came up with. What information that you remember that I skipped over. You know what I'm saying? As far as who's who and the situation with the Gomu Gomu. And, probably got to go all the way back to chapter one. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the beginning of the story where we left off we basically left off in the current chapter talking about the chapter one of the story, which is weird, right? In a good way. So it's time to get on that and get on to some science stuff with this judge background and start getting mapping this timeline again. Because I lost my timeline book. I gotta make another one, but it just takes forever to do. Ugh, but it's worth it. It is worth it. I wish I had that book now. Anyway, peace, y'all. I'm out.